All right, so we're going to review the hang power clean here. So we're going to watch it real quick in full speed. All right, so we're going to roll this one back here. A couple little things here that we want to pay attention to. First, let's try and maybe open your feet up a little bit, like maybe an inch or two, like the coach was saying in the session. When we get over the bar, we want to think about, right, you start your body over the bar. So we can see the hips really aren't moving that much back. You can see the knees are kind of shoving forward underneath. So that bar is already kind of starting out front. Right? And you're very, very, very heavy into the heels, right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we got to make sure that most of your weight is still in the midfoot. So I think while we want to keep it close, we also want to stay over. And right here, it kind of looks like you're keeping it close because you're leaning back and it's falling into your body. And your balance is back, which is ultimately going to push the bar forward as you try to stand up. And we can see that later in this, and I'll point it out. But so some things here to think about is while we want to keep it close, you have to stay over the bar. So the hips should be a little more that way. Your shoulders a little more here, right? And your shin should basically be perpendicular to the floor. And earlier when we noted the feet, you got a really big bow out here, right? Which is just, while the knees out is a nice cue for us, I think for you, based on your body, we don't need to be shoving the knees out so much because you have some longer legs. So widen the feet out, and then you can really start to use the whole quad instead of really pushing out and just kind of getting the lateral and adductor, lateral and glutes. So if we fix that out there, we got our feet out here. The shins are perpendicular to the floor, hips, back angle, and then our shoulders dropped down straight over. Right now you're kind of falling backwards. We do that correctly. You can see you're already going into your scoop phase, and you're already up onto your toes even before you brought that bar up. And that's just your body balance was off from the start. You were falling backwards, so you had to kind of lean forward to save it. So I just think that's one little thing you can do here. There's really no hip extension, once again, because if you do that, you're going to fall backwards. So you're just kind of cutting that out because you started too far back. We try to get the elbows up. Once again, keep the head up in the catch. So let's watch it again here in slow motion. So you can, I don't know if you can see this here real quick, but what you do is you sit, and then you sit back, right? Want to stay over here. Stay over in this position. We're going to stand up through the whole foot. And right here, you already start transitioning your hips too early forward, right? Because you're trying to keep the bar close, which is great, but you got to stay over the bar and the pole. All right, there's that forward rock, which is ultimately going to throw the bar in front. Here we go. And it's there. So all in all, Tim, it wasn't bad, right? I think the biggest thing is while we want to keep it close, don't keep it close by just letting the bar fall into your body, right? Stay over the bar and actively keep it close. So you got to change your angle out a little more over top. Really push these hips back, and let's widen the feet out a little bit to not have this huge V bow angle, right? That way you can use more of the quads.